age and ability. I think that Lazio are going to sell him. Tito said 30 million. He won't go any lower. But I think, given today's market, you could ask for even more than that. Given his age and his ability, the season he's just had, if we are going to sell him, I'd be disappointed not to sell him for at least 30.
Would you keep him for 1 year and then saw him leaving for free at the end of next season?
I mean, I probably wouldn't, because I don't think you want a player to be at the club. And we kind of touched on this last week in terms of guys who've decided their time is up. I'm not sure you want a guy at the club who's basically already got one eye on the future somewhere else. And if he is going to just stay on and not sign a contract, and he knows he's leaving the club at the end of the season, then he's not really invested in the project and in the squad and in what they're trying to achieve. If those players are dying to try and get a place in the Champions League, then Keita's going to be saying, well, I'm not in the squad next year, I'm not going to be playing in the Champions League with them. So,
but did he play this year in the same situation?
Well, not really, because he had another year on his contract at the end of it.
Anyway, as you were saying, this was the problem of last year, the second year of Pioli with Lazio, that they didn't sell players like Candreva that had the mind already somewhere else. So probably seeing Biglia and Keita leaving, especially if they want to leave, could be the right option for Lazio. You get players that are more motivated and perform better than Biglia and Keita, who don't want to stay here anymore.
Yeah, as long as they get the right amount of money in for these players and they invest it in high quality replacements, then fine, business done. It's just the worry is that might not happen. I think we've only got one more question left. Do you have any more? I've got one.
I think I've said everything already.
Okay, so just to top it off with a nice depressing question for us. From Rami Algendi, why did we throw everything away in the last 4 games? What happened, and why do we always do that every season at the end? I don't know what you think about it. I think in terms of the last 4 games here, they're pretty difficult games is the first thing. The Fiorentina game as well, I think they probably have one eye on the Coppa Italia final in midweek. That was lost against very strong Inter sides, and then on the last day you've got an incredibly motivated Crotone team, so which I think the Inter and Crotone games for me are the most disappointing, but also probably something that comes into it is that they were already comfortable, weren't they? Yes, we lost 4th place, but that doesn't actually really matter in terms of getting into the Europa League. It's just a difference in terms of the prize money you get. So I don't know what your thoughts are.
I think in this type of football, motivation makes such a big difference that you can see it when a team is, Inter is a good team, but perform really, really bad this season. I think it's all about motivation. They didn't build a team. There were 11 players playing for each other. Inzaghi was very good building a team, but when they reached the Europa League, something changed. The motivation wasn't there anymore, and so they didn't perform as well as they did in the other match of the season. To add to this, they were unlucky, against Inter and Fiorentina. There were some terrible refereeing, and Crotone had bigger motivation than Lazio. But it's disappointing because they had to finish the season well, and they didn't. And they had the chance to finish 4th, and they finished 5th. So there's something that they have to work on, and maybe the fact that Biglia and Keita was already thinking something else, that could be one of the solution. I think one of the things we have to consider is that the squad wasn't big enough, and probably some player arrived at the end of the season that they were done. They didn't have any more energy, and they show it on the pitch. That could be another option.
Yeah, and especially in midfield, the guys who are doing the most running in the pitch, and that happens to be the kind of position where there are the least options. So yes, it's a shame. It's a shame to finish the season with 4 defeats, but I think you have to look back on it as a whole and say it was a successful campaign, getting back into Europe, reaching the final of the Coppa Italia, and young players coming through, manager doing well, and I think all in all, you can still be very happy with how it went.
Yeah, let's say that if Lazio finished better, the season would have been an 8 out of 10. Well, with the last 4 matches finishing this bad, it's 7.5. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, possibly. It's. I think just it's not just losing the games, but the manner of the defeats, particularly talking about the last couple. I think the Inter game was really, really frustrating to watch. I think that was a really poor performance. But yeah, 7.5 out of 10. I'd agree with that. I'd go along with you there.
Okay, good. Alistair, I think we have to wrap it up because it's have been a long podcast.
Otherwise, we will be here all night.
Yeah, it's always fun talking about Lazio, and we really love having all these questions, having people engaging with us. Remember, you can find us on Twitter, on Facebook. Now we are on iTunes as well, so you can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, and every Monday have it downloaded automatically to your phone or wherever you're hearing podcasts. We are on SoundCloud, we are on Spreaker. So please follow us.
Excuse.
No excuse. Follow us and engage with us. If you have questions for the next episode, please, you know where to reach us. If you have feedback, questions to ask, things that we can improve, please, we are here and we are willing to hear everything from you. And yes, if you love this podcast, please spread the word. The more we have, the better it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking forward to the next one.
Thank you very much, Alistair, and have a nice week.
Cheers, you too.
Bye.